Okay, so I'm very excited about this conversation. I'm here with Tim Cholewa. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
And Tim is dressed very warmly because he just came in. He's smoking some rainbow trout. And where are you right now, Tim?
I'm located a half an hour north of Edmonton, Alberta, living in Canada. So
Way up
it's,
north,
yeah,
Alberta.
we're up north. Yeah.
Way
So,
up
yeah, we're up there. Yeah. We've got about 7 or 8 inches of snow right now.
there. Okay. And the temperature right now? What's the temperature?
It was minus 15 when I looked the last time. I don't know. It's supposed to warm up to minus 8. That's Celsius too. You guys aren't, you're in Fahrenheit. I don't know how that all
Oh,
translates. So it,
that's
yes.
nothing.
No, well, it's cold because it was like a week ago, it was plus, or it was about 10 degrees out and I was fishing. So now it's minus 20 and I'm hunting.
Yeah,
So we had,
so let's see. Celsius, if it's 0, then it's 32 Fahrenheit.
yeah, that's right.
So minus 8, maybe about 25 degrees, something like that.
Probably. It's
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
it's
Okay. Okay.
It's not horrible.
All right. So the reason I wanted to talk to my new friend Tim, who I've known now for 25 minutes, I really want to talk with you because he had some great posts on Facebook, and it seems like he did what I couldn't do for many years. He did not let stuttering hold himself back. You just went for it. You plowed for it. Why don't you tell us about that, and tell us what kind of work you did, which I am still amazed that you did.
Okay, so when I graduated from high school, I was more of a mechanical guy than a book guy. So I went right straight into the workforce. I became my first job was a carpenter, then a plumber, and I became a meat butcher for a while too. That's why I smoke my own fish and I make my own jerky and I make my own hams and I did all that.
Wow.
So I started at hauling oil in the oil patch. That's what oil is called here. It's the oil patch because there's oil is all over the place, but there's patches of it. So I grew up in the heavy oil. So a natural instinct was to become an operator, a heavy oil operator. So you need a power engineering certificate. So I went back to night classes and I got my power engineering certificate and I got a job in a plant. So I started working in oil plants, making fuel and diesel fuel and upgrading oil. And I took a job with Shell here by Edmonton, and I started working as a backup shift coordinator because I'm a pretty good operator, and the guy who was our leader, he took me under his wing, even though I had a stutter. And back then I was still I still let it bug me. So when he was gone, I was the boss. So I had to have to go at the start of every meeting. I'd have to stand up in front of my group of operators, which was 45 people, and do a start of shift meeting. Wow. They're all my friends. They're all my friends. And that's when I started going, this isn't going to affect me. I can't let this hold me back. I go, before I'd have to do the meeting, I'd walk in the bathroom, look in the mirror, slap myself in the face and said, you can do this. You're going to do this. Don't let it hold you back. And that's what I did. And
how old were you at that time?
I was about 37, 38, 39, somewhere in there. I was old enough to, and in the meantime, like before that, it was a struggle. I struggle like every other person with a stammer. And once Phil, which is the guy that took me under his wing and showed me my potential, I didn't want to be held back because I couldn't spit out thank you or hello, my name is Tim or whatever, right? So that's what I would do. I'd go in the bathroom before the meeting, get myself worked up, slap myself in the face a few times and say, you know what, you're going to do this.
Fantastic.
You're not going to let it.
It's so courageous. That's
You're not
great.
going to let me hold it. You're not going to let this hold you back. And I didn't. So, and part of my job there too was I was a firefighter. So when I was a
Hmm.
firefighter, you were just being told, we called them hose hounds. So I would pump hose here, pump hose there. But then I got good at being a hose hound, and they brought me up to incident commander. And then I got to travel the world learning how to become an incident commander. I've been to the States probably half a dozen times down in fire schools down there, because we have the plant I was at was a large plant. So there was probably 1,000 people on this plant site
Hmm.
per day. So in the event of an incident, the incident commander, he had total control of the plant. So when I was incident commander, I was involved. I was there for 10 years, and I was involved in probably a dozen major incidents. Like I'm talking explosions, fires. So
Yes,
and
Commander?
probably out of those dozen incidents, I was incident commander probably 6 times.
Wow. And so tell our group here what it is that an incident commander has to do.
Okay, so
Because
you're directing the first of all, you got to get everybody evacuated. So you're directing the evacuations on a handheld radio. I got to clear this. I got to clear that. Then you go into the offensive mode. You have to get the fire under control. So I was directing all my firefighters by the radio,
hmm,
how we had to go in, and we had to either put water on the structure so it wouldn't melt and fall over and collapse, or we'd have, because in the event of a fire, you don't want to put it out, because your poisonous gas that's escaping out of the hole in the pipe or whatever you have, if
hmm,
it's not on fire, it finds it's very poisonous. So if you breathe this stuff in, you'll die without an air pack. So as long as it's on fire, you're not spreading poisonous gas. So you gotta find the leak. You gotta block in the piping and let it bleed down. So this takes, sometimes it takes 6 hours. Sometimes it takes a day. Sometimes it's fast. It
wow,
depends on the leak. So in that time, whatever time I'm working is I'm incident commander, and you're on the radio, and you've got guys calling you. And but when that happens, or was happening, I never thought about my stutter. It just,
hmm,
my words just flowed because it was instinct. I had so much training that it just, my words flow. And part of that was not being scared to be in the limelight, because everybody's looking at you. Everybody's looking for answers.
you
And
bet.
if you're standing there and you've got a lost expression on your face because you can't get the, like, so I never let it. I know it's easy for me to sit here and say it didn't bother me, but it didn't bother me. I
That's
spit my
great.
words out, and sometimes I had a stutter, sometimes I had a block, but you know what? You rewind a little bit and you try again.
How did you handle the time pressure? I mean, there's got to be a lot of time pressure
Oh yeah,
with
yeah. No,
this kind of a thing.
it was very intense, very pressure, high filled pressure. Yeah, because we had, I was responsible for 1,000 people's lives.
Wow, wow. So you told me that some realization you made had a big impact on your life. Tell us about that.
The realization, oh, when I accepted it as part of me.
Hmm.
I always tried to hide the fact that I had a stutter. Well, now,
Yeah.
once I said, I'm not going to let this hold me back, it's part of me. And if you spend enough time around me, you'll know I have a stutter. It just happens. And it doesn't bother me. It's part of who I am. It's part of me. It's like an imaginary friend. I've got a little friend that's on my back all the time. And once
Yeah.
in a while he pops his head in there, and you know what? I can't control it. Most of the time I'm okay. I have bad times too, don't get me wrong, but you know what? I
Yeah.
work through it, and I don't let it impact my whole outlook on life, because God, life is good. You
That's
know
great.
what?
So tell us of your life now. You're what, 59 years old now?
I'm 59. I retired. Well, actually, I retired years ago, but I went back to work on a contract basis. I started up my own business, and I go back and I do contract work. But my last one was in May, so I've had May since now off, and I've been hunting and fishing, and I bought a boat. I'm living life. I've ride a motorcycle. I have for a long, long time, and that's my passion. So
not just any motorcycle. What kind of motorcycle?
I ride a Harley.
like this?
And yeah, I got big ape hangers. Yeah. So and you know what? I think I was drawn to that lifestyle because bikers don't judge.
And you're married, right?
Yeah, I'm married. I have one son. He's 29. He's on his own. I got him through post-education. I paid for all that, and now he's on his own, and he's just moved in with his girlfriend, so they're having a good time. And no, he's not a stutterer, because when we got together, we went in and we were talking with the doctor before we decided to have a family, and I said to him, what's the odds of him having a stutter? Because at that point I was 30.
Yeah.
And I was worried that he would come into life with a stutter, and I decided, don't know if I wanted to. At that point, I didn't know if I wanted to do that to another person after what I went through.
Yeah.
But we were told that no, it's not hereditary. It's not, because like no one in my family that I know of or my extended family have a stutter. Nobody. I was just blessed with it, and I part of the realization was when I said that I had it, I said, God gave this to me because he knew I could beat it. Excuse me. It's been a struggle, but I just want people to know that it's not the end of the world. That's all.
Yeah.
But so he's on his own. He's got a good job. He went back to school. He became a water treatment operator. So he works for the city of Edmonton, and he's got a good job. So part of my job as a parent was to get him ready for life, and he's ready for life, just like my father did. And he doesn't stutter, which I'm thankful for. But if he would have, I would have helped him through it, because I at that point I was already well on my way to being okay.
That's great. Yeah, I had similar concerns. I had my kids about the same time you did, and fortunately my kids, neither of them stutter either. So last question, what advice do you have for our friends listening to you right now?
You know what? My advice to everybody, who you have to reach a point in your life where you're okay with being a stutterer. You know what? You could have a cerebral palsy, you could have Lou Gehrig's disease, you could have something else, but you just have a stutter. It's not the end of the world. Don't let it control you. Don't let it hold you back. And you will have dark days. I had lots of dark days. Don't get me wrong. It's not all sunshine and flowers, but once you get through the dark days, life is pretty good. And I just want, if I could just reach out to one person and make them understand that having a stutter isn't the end of the world. That's all I'm trying to do. Because at one point in my life, I was not fluent. Like now, I still have the odd block. You know what? It's okay. And I don't know who's going to all be watching this, but it doesn't bother me, because that's part of who I am. And you know what? It's made me who I am.
Yeah.
And that's, I just want to reach out and touch and help people to say it's not the end of the world. I look what I've done, and I was just a young guy from small town Saskatchewan, 400 people in my town, and I got to travel the world, be a firefighter, be a incident commander all the time with a stutter, and people respected me for that.
Fantastic. You are terrific. You are just, Tim, I've really enjoyed this, and I'm so happy we could get together.
Yes,
and,
me too.
Let's do this again. I think you have so much to offer people. You're an inspiration to us all.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Adios.
Bye-bye.